Welcome to the Bigfoot Researchers Journal, guys. Today we're looking at thermal footage. We got a thermal encounter, and we walked somebody in on it, and they confirmed it. They had a Sasquatch counter, and we filmed the whole thing, the Sasquatch and the eyewitness. We also figured out that there's some kind of craft flying around us, and we caught it on film, and it's clear, very clear. It's also colored red, white, and blue. Incidentally, when that craft's around, our cameras reset the dates inside it, all by themselves, to dates that predate the creation or invention of the technology that they're actually on. How about that? There it is, right there. 2014. We shot that Saturday night, man. Now I hear we're not the only ones with this problem in Florida. So the thing about using a thermal is, you never know what you're going to get. We see heat signatures, we check them out. This is a deer, and that's giving our students an example of how to use the thermal and what a heat signature looks like on a deer. Here's an example of a very large Sasquatch and how their heat signatures, while at rest, aren't always glowing bright. That deer was shot with the exact same thermal. I had Sean approach just to see if he was real.
To your right. Now, shine that light in the bushes in front of you. No, man, in front of you. To the left. To the left, right there in front of you. Now walk forward. Then come back. You see him? How big is he? Get out of there. What are you doing? What the f are you doing? I was seeing if it was real. Don't stand there looking at him.
What is it?
It's a giant.
The creature appeared to be resting while watching us. It was laying under a group of saw palmettos at the base, just alongside it. I was scouting one of the potential areas that I've seen individuals passing through on thermal or caught other thermal signatures in that particular area. When I caught this subject, I'm learning a lot about these creatures, observing the variations in heat signatures. They're not always brightly lit, but that doesn't mean they're not there. Having someone approach is not such a good idea. We had, I think, learned a great deal from this encounter, and we'll never repeat it again.
To the left, right there in front of you. Now walk forward. Then come back. You see him? How big is he? Don't stand there looking at him.
What is it?
It's a giant.
Bigfoot?
It's a giant.
Then we get in the trucks and we're heading over there.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, what? From that point on, just tell your night.
Well, as we're driving down the road, as we're coming into the area, and I could feel we were coming into the area. I knew it. We were getting pretty far back down in there. And there was genuine fear in me, the butterflies in my stomach. And we go driving in there, and I remember right away you pulled in there and you were concerned with the layout of what had happened there, and obviously there had been some changes since the last time you were there, but we all pulled in and got out, and I didn't feel any kind of like overwhelming doom. I didn't feel any of that. I felt very at ease, and especially being with you guys, I'm going to follow your lead, and if you're not worried, I'm not worried. So I try to put myself in that frame of mind, and so we got up there, and right away we heard some noises off to the left and to the right, and not more than, 5 minutes later, Mark said, "I got a Bigfoot." Come here, you want to see a Bigfoot?
Where?
The other hill. I got the whole head.
apex, the eyes, the whole thing. I'm filming him right now and recording. I'm filming him right now and recording.
No, I'm behind you.
I got a heat signature over there right next to a pine.
It didn't take very long for us to iron out who was watching. Some of them stick out like a sore thumb. As you can see, this one has a pretty powerful heat signature, and the thermal has no trouble picking it up. Whereas the other one that Sean approached, you could barely tell the creature was there. If you didn't know what they looked like, you'd never know.
Now walk forward. Then come back. You see him? How big is he?
They come in all shapes and sizes, and apparently variations in thermal signatures. Let's take a look at the rest of this guy.
Brown bush or whatever that's right there. Is that which side that is?
Oh my God, I see it. There you go. Yep. You still got the record going, right? Leave it on. Yep. Leave it on. Keep filming it. Try to stabilize it.
Come here, you want to see a Bigfoot? And he's like, my body just started shaking. You know, I got that, oh my God, that excitement. My body started shaking, and the adrenaline started flowing.
And then when we get the footage, I'll take a closer look. But that looks like the right stuff from this distance. I'm shaking. Isn't it incredible? Yeah. That's what they look like when they're watching you at night from the ground. They just stick their head up over the bank and watch you. Just like I said back at the camp, he's doing that with that bank over there. There's a dirt bank. It's a little hill. He's coming forward, Mark. Don't stop filming. Stabilize the footage really good, because this could be world class. Here, you got to get on it. Okay, I got it. Let it get on it.
And the only thing I can say is when he handed me the thermal, and I put it to my eye, it was like this feeling, this washed over my body. And like I said, my body just started shaking. I couldn't hold the thermal straight, and I was telling him, I was like, oh my God, it was just like this feeling. What am I looking at? You know, what am I looking at? And even though it's just a thermal picture. I mean, you can see its eyes, you can see its nose, you can see its head. It's right there. It's looking right at me. Its head's moving side to side, and there's no doubt what I'm seeing in this. And I'm seeing it firsthand, not through YouTube, not through a computer screen. I'm seeing this firsthand through, this thermal. It's just this feeling of unbelievableness just washes over your body. What am I looking at here? And it was just amazing. It was just amazing. And that's what I felt when I saw the first one that we got on the thermal there. It was just so amazing. It was like a miracle. It was like a miracle. That's what I felt like a kid in a candy store. I was like, what is this?
So, okay, day 2, night expedition.
For me to put that to my eye and to see what you see, and I see all the time that you see on YouTube or Patreon, it's like, wow. That really put it like, this is real. There's no tricks, there's no nothing. It's there. It's looking right at you. And if you watch long enough, they kind of look over at you and kind of look back. It's like a little pumpkin head, like they call it. And that's how it's just the coolest thing. To be honest with you, I could have stayed out there all night long and just looked and stared at it, because I was in awe. Yeah. Because you don't realize that until you see it. I was a believer before. I have been. But as Carrie always said, I'm a knower now. You know what you saw. And no one could take that away from me. There was too much evidence. For some reason, we got lucky. And the last 2 days were awesome. Because nothing's guaranteed. And I was looking for more of how to, do the research, that kind of thing. If I'm lucky, I get a shot at it, and see something. But what I seen was just more than I ever imagined. And to me, I was not scared because I was far enough away. I was in a safe area.
And I think, that feeling and that knowing that you get at the night the second time, we actually were kind of on the outskirts, and had we walked into
right,
that's
right,
that's more where. And
that's where I had a choice, and I said no, I'm not willing to do that.
Yeah. So that's
I was comfortable with what I've seen already. I didn't need to have somebody yelling in my face to confirm it. I want my mind when I return home. I already know that I'm going to get people say, no, you didn't. You had somebody out there. You know, and there's no way. There's just no way. And the video is perfectly clear. I mean, we got it. It was awesome. I mean, I was very impressed with the whole weekend. It was very well directed and done. And we, you know, we didn't sit at the campsite hardly at all. The only time we were here was to eat. We were out in the field and we were putting our boots to the ground, and that's what I wanted. I wanted the hands-on, and that's what I got.
So what we're doing is we're looking into the edge of a very thick wooded area. Now this particular wooded area, we've actually, Crypto Reality has caught the creatures on film in this area. So when I come down the road and I get about this far from the end, I know this set of power lines is where it was. This is my landmark. So I just stop and I shoot a clip. But if you look at what's going on over there, it's a very thick, dark area, and those dark areas have a tendency to have temperature variations. And so we want to shoot the obvious temperature variations first and foremost.
right.
And then also, while we're shooting, we want to evaluate any movement that we see through the lens while we're shooting these areas. But it's those darker areas that we're going to find the temperature variations, and then the creatures are oftentimes in those thermocline areas where you're going to have, 5 to 8 degrees temperature difference.
Right.
And so when we go back and look at our footage, 7 times out of 10, the creatures were in these low light situations, which, like I said, it's temperature.
Yep.
And also, we see that a lot of the creatures, I think, have the oculus of what appears to be nocturnal bone structure, right? So the lower light situations make sense when you start seeing creatures with this big bone structure out, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Kathleen, were you able to?
You can see there's a foot trail. Runs all the way around this thing. See this foot trail in here, guys? We're inside the forest on the other side of the tree line where I saw the creature running yesterday. And,
All right, check it out, guys. Look at this thing on my left side of the screen there. It's flying around. Here it comes, slowing it down, 10% speed. Boom, look at this thing. One more time, a little bit slower. And what we end up with is there is a piece of technology, unidentifiable technology, flying around that pine tree on the left side there. You see it? Well, we caught it. We caught it good, and you're about to witness it. We're in the editor, and we are looking at a miniature unidentified flying object that looks like a tube of chapstick. Only guess what? And this is the weird part. It's actually red, white, and blue. How about that? Watch this footage. Watch the right side there in that highlight. Whoop! Comes flying into the picture from my right after it zips past me on my left. And then it takes off. Slow it down so you can see it. Zips off to the right. Nuts. Let's take a look at that again. The miniature UFO that happens to be the colors of the American flag. Wow. What a coincidence. And guess what? My battery died right then too. Technology. Technology. Technology is in our way. So right here, this is where it first appears, and you can see it kind of hanging through the little bushes there. Sometimes it looks like it's flattened out, and sometimes it looks like it's like a tube of chapstick, like, it's more than likely what it is. And when it moves so fast that it appears to flatten out. But that's just the blur of this thing moving so fast. When we watch it as we move forward in this, you're going to see it. It flies up by that tree and it goes around it. But it makes a jump from right there to right there in the blink of an eye. And I couldn't find it in the frames between. You can see it flies by that pine tree right there. We can identify that it is indeed there. It's not on the lens. And then it comes back around, circles back around, and comes in front of me as I try to film the Sasquatch. Then my camera dies. So here it is up by the tree there on the left-hand side. You can see it's coming around the tree. Let's look at it a little closer. Beautiful. So right here, I'm coming around the tree, and there's the Bigfoot. There's absolutely no sign that any of this is going on. Right here, you can see the orb slide right up in front of my lens in between me and my subject, the Bigfoot, which is right there. Okay, so what we have is we have a couple of Sasquatch lying off the side of a trail. You can see him right there as the frame moves forward. You get a good look at what one of these Florida WIldmen look like. And then this is where my camera dies. 3 batteries in a row, some kind of technology, and a bunch of Bigfoot equals a dead battery. Hopefully. What we have here is a Bigfoot, and I was trying to film this creature. You can see his forehead here. There's some hair hanging down in his face. You can see this creature here. There's other ones here. There's another one down here. They were hanging out. It's from the camp out. There's a couple of them. There's a whole group, right? There's stuff up in here, you guys. There's a creature. You can see its eyes. But this guy I was trying to catch, and this thing moved up in my way as I was trying to film these creatures. And then you guys saw what happened. You can see this thing. Look at this. That's Florida Sasquatch, buddy. On film. Stick around, man. It's going to be a good episode. We're going to take a look at this Bigfoot, but we're also going to take a look at what killed my camera, which is, unbelievable in its own right, guys. I mean, unbelievable what's been going on here. Look at this thing flying around. Look at this. Let's take a look at it on the Bigfoot Researcher's Journal.
In front of you, to the left, right there in front of you. Now walk forward. Then come back. You see him? How big is he?
Here's the enormous creature 15 feet away from Sean.
Enjoy the journey, 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 enjoy the journey.
Second Bigfoot encounter where you walk down in there. Now I'm lensing them out, and let's lay this whole thing out from your perspective. What
So
happened?
the best I remember, you called me over there and you said, okay, I think I got a Bigfoot. I think I got a Bigfoot. I'm like, okay. And you zeroed in, he's like, okay, okay. And you're like, hey, Sean, come over here. He's like, you want to see a Bigfoot? And I was like, yeah, I want to see a Bigfoot. So I think he's going to call me over there to look in the viewfinder, you know, to go see a Bigfoot. He goes, just walk down there 20 feet. Like, there's this hill. It goes, it's like about an 8-foot drop off down this hill. And it's pretty stout angle. Just go down there 20 feet. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm judging. I'm real apprehensive. I'm like, I don't even want to go down there. But once I go down the hill, I'm committed. You know, once you step off the edge, that was it. So I was like, okay, I'll give him 20 feet. I'll give him 20 feet. So this is the best way I remember. I walk out there, what I think is 20 feet. He's like, nah, go out further. Keep going, you're all right. So I walk out a little bit further. And I'm looking around with my flashlight. And he's like, no, 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 over to the right. Keep going a little further. You're all right. And it was great because it was the voice of encouragement up there. I was hoping he was not going to let me get killed. And so I figured, hey, trust Mark. Trust Mark. Keep on going. So I kept going. Oh my God. I didn't expect to see, once he got me in the right location, I did not expect to see, I kind of expected a different creature than the one that I got. I got one of these prehistoric stone looking, the head on it was this big, and I couldn't have been more than 15 feet away from me. When I shined my light on it, I had to put it all into perspective. I didn't really know what I was looking at. And when I did, finally, it scared me. I jumped, and then I was like, well, I didn't know what to do.
And so I said, what?
Get out of there!
I said, well, what are you still doing there? Hold on. It was
amazing. It was amazing. My heart, I could not believe it. And my heart was beating. I don't know. I don't remember. I mean, I remember I didn't want to take my light off of it because I wanted to keep my light. I had to turn and run the other way, and I couldn't see what was in front of me. So I had to trust that I could just go that way and it wasn't going to come after me. But oh man, it was amazing. It was the greatest. It was the greatest feeling.
Describe what you saw.
It's almost unbelievable. It doesn't look real. You have to force your mind to accept something that really you've never seen before and perceived before. And the head was about this big. The skin is gray.
How big? Put your arms up. Let's see. How big you think that head was?
I'd say boulder size, like
Okay.
that head. I'd say 20 inches. I said it had to be more than 20 inches across. It had these, it was hidden behind with the palm prawns sticking up, looked like a headdress on it, but it was back just a little bit further behind it. And the best way I can describe it, it looks like prehistoric. It is so stoic. It just sits, and it is so well adapted and trained, it becomes part of the environment. You got to separate it from the environment and then put it into perspective. And once you do that, then it hits you like a ton of bricks. And then once you realize what you're looking at isn't supposed to be real, but it is, it blows your mind. It just blows your mind. It blows your mind. And then a whole new set of questions comes after that.
Join us in March for Camp Crypto Reality. Apply for acceptance at cryptoreality.us@gmail.com.